Shout out to G-Man Boxing. Where's the piss bottle? It's over there.
So the morning after, the night before, we're just under 24 hours removed from Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, the trilogy fight. The best fight of the three, in my opinion. Was a great fight. I watched it back again this morning. It was just a fantastic fight. But when I watched it live, it looked like Wilder was taking a beating. I said that in my post-fight review. When I watch it back the next day, and bear in mind, when you're watching it live, you really get into it. You know, so where you kind of you forget about things, and you're just kind of really so into it. And I was so into that fight. I mean, I was tired at the opening bell, and then once like the third round came, it just kind of shot me back into life. But watching it again, you do realise that Deontay Wilder, he took a beating in that fight. You know, for me, it looked bad watching it live, but when I watch it back the next day, I just think, holy, you took a dangerous amount, in my opinion, of headshots. And that's the kind of that fight right there. All right, that's the kind of punishment. And bear in mind, these are heavyweights, so it's not like, you know, I'm going to just, because I'll be talking about him in another video. Ted Cheeseman, he takes a lot of shots. He takes plenty of shots in every fight. At 154, guys hit hard, but it's very different than taking shots off a big 280-pound Tyson Fury. It's very different consistently over the course of 11 rounds. Deontay Wilder took a very bad beating. I believe he had to go to hospital for a precautionary checkup. Now, I didn't know that until this morning when it was confirmed, but I kind of assumed, because watching boxing, you kind of tend to know when they're going to check someone out. And for me, Deontay Wilder, if they didn't bring him to hospital after the fight, I'd be scratching my head, because they would have needed to. But it got me thinking, what is next for Deontay Wilder? Is he going to come back? Would he come back and have one more fight and call it a day? Or is he going to try and make a go of it again? Something I don't know. Personally, I have a funny feeling we may have seen the last of Deontay Wilder. Maybe he will, just instead of going out on a loss, he'll come back and have maybe one more fight, you know, maybe against a Charles Martin or someone like that, or, you know, God knows who. Just maybe kind of go off with a win. But I think at this stage now, Deontay Wilder, even if he intends on coming back full time, you know, if he intends to make another run, you know, towards a Fury rematch or the winner of Undisputed, I think that Deontay Wilder, following on from that third fight, we're really going to see him regress as a fighter in terms of ability, in terms of his athleticism, because that kind of fight right there will take years off your career. If the second fight didn't take it would have took a bit off Deontay Wilder, the second fight, but that third fight, he took a beating. There's no two ways about it. He took a beating. He was dropped 4 times. All the knockdowns were, he was knocked down 3 times. Where was I going? 4 times. He was knocked down 3 times. They were all reasonably heavy knockdowns, and you know, he showed that he has a good chin, because before, there was many a time I really did think that when Fury would land a right hand, you know, even before the 10th round, I was like, he's going down. No, he's not. He's staying up, and he's being stuck. Don't question Wilder's heart. Never question that. He's definitely got that. But like I said, that kind of fight, that kind of beating will take years off your career. He's 36 at the end of this month. Realistically, how long does he have? Let's imagine he just lost via... Let's imagine he was competitive. He wasn't really taking a beating. He'd lost via one-punch knockout or an injury, we'll say. And he came back. How long would you really imagine he's going to have his athleticism, his speed for? A year? 2 at most? If that's even pushing it? I think we're at the end of Deontay Wilder's career. And I just don't see him... Now, he's a tremendous puncher. He always has the power. But I just don't see him making a run at world level anytime soon, if indeed ever. I think that this fight is going to take a hell of a lot out of him. He's going to need a hell of a long time to recover, and I just think that Deontay Wilder's made his money. I think that at this stage now, following on from this loss, what does he have to excuse this loss? Because we haven't... I think in the interview after, I think he was kind of alluding to the fact that Tyson Fury was like fair and square, because there was no excuse the second time, but there definitely isn't this time. Had the gloves he wanted. I think he had the same gloves as last time. Paffin Sport. Everything was checked out. JD's, all that jazz. The suit was like, there's nothing really. Now maybe his fans will say, maybe his little brother will say something, I don't know. But for me, there's really nothing you can say about that trilogy fight that you could turn around and say, well, he cheated because no, he didn't. He didn't cheat either times. So I think Wilder maybe is going to have a look at himself and think, you know what, I've just been beaten by the better man twice. I'm getting on in years. I've got a family. I've made all this money. Do I need to carry on? Because I don't believe, hand on my heart, last year, when the trilogy fight was first announced, I think in March of last year, I didn't feel as though he wanted to take that. And I think that the longer it went, the more he kind of came to terms with the idea, or accept the idea of having the trilogy fight. But I think now, in every aspect, maybe he's just going to look at boxing and think, what's the point? I've done everything I need to do. Been world champion, had a lengthy reign, got some good wins, got some great paydays. I don't need this anymore. And I wouldn't at all be shocked if this is the end of Deontay Wilder, or if he comes back and has maybe one more fight. I wouldn't be surprised about that. But in terms of him coming back to maybe have another go of, fighting his way up to get a shot at a world title or potentially winning it, I ain't seeing that. I think that Wilder at this stage now, like I said, he's not getting any younger. That fight will take years off his career. It was it was a terrible beating. It really, really was. When you look at it again, you're just like, holy, he took so many straight flush shots to the head. Shows he's got a great chin, and it shows he has a tremendous heart. But it's when I was watching it back today, I was literally looking at it in the 9th round and I was thinking, God, like, if I'd have been in that corner, and this is just me saying it, if I'd have been in that corner, I would have just said, I'm stopping this fight. I don't care if you kick up. You got to look after someone's health after about 9 rounds. The 10th round especially, because there was just, when you see because I've seen a few fighters in my time, be in fights where they are taking, and to be fair, some of them, it didn't look on the surface that they were taking as bad a beating as that. A bit like Edward Goodnick when he fought George Groves. You could see worrying signs there, but he wasn't taking as bad a beating, but he ended up in a very, very bad way. Or Abdu Salamov, I think was the guy's name, who fought Mike Perez, and I think he's still in a very bad way today, and that's nearly a decade later. So you don't want to see that, and you don't want a fighter who's too brave for his own good and a corner who's too brave for his own good. So I think that that fight could have ended a bit earlier, in my opinion. But anyway, that's another topic altogether. In terms of Wilder, I can't see him sticking around. I really can't. I do like Deontay Wilder, as a fighter. As a person, he says a lot of things that I don't agree with. But as a fighter, I've always loved watching Deontay Wilder. When is he ever... Here's the question. When is Wilder ever not in a fun fight? Even if he's being outboxed, you're always looking and just thinking, that right hand, when's it going to land? When is the... And I've already done a WTF episode on Deontay Wilder, so I won't do another one. But if this is the end of Deontay Wilder, I'll do a video talking about it, because I think Wilder has been absolutely entertaining as hell throughout his career. He's given me a lot of good memories, so if this is the end of Wilder, what more can you say? I mean, he's just been a hell of a fighter. He's tremendous heart, good chin, great puncher, one of the best, probably certainly of his generation. What more can you say? Just a tremendous fighter, very entertaining. So that's my thoughts on that. I hope I haven't kind of been rambling a bit in this video. I think I might have been, but I hope you got the general idea of what I was talking about. Saying, do I think he'll retire? I think he will. I think maybe the gas might be officially out of the tank. In terms of Tyson Fury, it'll be the winner of Wallin versus White next, I would imagine, because it looks like AJ is going to trigger it looks like he's already done that, triggered the rematch clause for Usyk. So we're looking potentially a Fury versus the Otto Wallin Dylan White winner, which that's an interesting fight in of itself. I was going to say I'd still pick Deontay Wilder over Dylan White at this stage, but probably not now after last night, because I just don't know how much he has left if he was to fight him. But definitely I'd pick Tyson Fury. I think Tyson Fury would get up for Dylan White, because Dylan White, he's never fought him. Dylan White's mouthy. Wilder, I think that he probably thought this would be easier than it was. Because for me, Tyson Fury, although he was only 3 pounds heavier than the rematch, he didn't look aesthetically as good. You know, he was noticeably flabbier. You know, I know people would say, like, oh, he's only 3 pounds heavier, and he wore, I think, a hat and t-shirt, you know, to the weigh-in. So you could turn around and say, like, oh yeah, but you take that off, you know, he's probably the same weight. Well, that may be, but he definitely didn't look as good, aesthetically speaking, as he did in the rematch last year. He definitely looked fatter. I was going to say it. Fatter, he did. He looked chubbier. Noticeably, definitely noticeably. But anyway, that's a topic for another video. I'll talk about that in review of the week, which I'm going to record straight after this. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you could, smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. You know, hit the notification bell as well if you could. For now, lads and lassies, I'll talk to you. Peace.